Hi, everybody. Al Bernstein here with another one of my quick hits videos, part of our Boxing Hangout series. And on this one, we're going to talk about yet another fascinating fight that dots the landscape of boxing. We are seeing in the sport now, all through the year, some fascinating matchups, and a lot of them being made at a bunch of different weight divisions. And one that will take its place among those, it will be on June 20th. At the MGM Grand, when it appears, and it's all but set, Adrien Broner will move slightly up in weight to take on Shawn Porter, the former welterweight champion, who is going to slightly move down in weight. This fight is a fascinating one on many, many levels. First of all, it creates an interesting dynamic because Porter, who has fought as high as 154, in fact, he started his pro career at 154 pounds. And remember, when he was a running back in high school, he weighed about 180. And so he was used to weighing more. Started his pro career at 154, matriculated down to 147, where his strength was benefited him. This fight, though, will be fought at a catch weight of either 144 or 145 pounds. So for Shawn Porter, though he's a physically strong welterweight, he'll be forced to lose several pounds below the welterweight limit. Adrien Broner, who we know was his most effective at 135 pounds, moved up to 147, where he fought Marcos Maidana, lost that fight, was down several times, then moved back down to 140. Now here he is having to go up to 144 or 145, or at least he can weigh whatever he wants, but will be the highest he can weigh to face Shawn Porter. What interests me about this fight is, in a way, it puts both men at some kind of disadvantage, probably more to Porter than to Adrien Broner. If this fight were being fought at 147, I would be tempted to say this is way more than Adrien Broner should bite off, because Porter is a physically strong man, and Broner is truly a 135-pounder, in my opinion, maybe 140, but I don't see him as a 147-pounder to face a strong 147-pound fighter. But because Porter has to lose those extra pounds, will it impact his physical strength? They are two fighters who have wildly different styles. Broner is a boxer-puncher who is very economical in the number of punches he throws, very precise. There's not a ton of movement from him. It's a misnomer that people think he's a fancy boxer. He's not. Doesn't move that well. Porter is a helter-skelter fighter who rushes in, throws wild combinations, sometimes leads with his head, and physically wants to brutalize you. This fight is fascinating because we can go back to the Adrien Broner or the Shawn Porter Kell Brook fight, in which Porter lost his welterweight title. Kell Brook was able to stay on the outside and box and land counter punches and keep control of the fight. And Broner's bull-like rushes were met mostly by Brook kind of holding on, which he made the case that he did to avoid being hit with Porter's head. And there's a case to be made for that, but some believe Pat Russell, the referee, who's a fine referee, allowed Kell Brook to hold too much in that fight. One of the interesting things about this match will be how it's refereed. If Broner is looking for a template to beat Shawn Porter, it certainly was the Kell Brook fight, though that was a fairly close fight, and one judge had it a draw, though I thought Brook clearly won the fight. Porter was in the fight. There were many fights out there for both Broner and Porter. I don't think most boxing fans will tell you this is the one they thought would happen, but it is happening. And there is a great intrigue to it because it's not one of the ones we would have expected from these two men. I remain skeptical of whether Broner can deal with a big, strong fighter like Porter. However, making Porter lose that weight to come down to 144 or 145 is a very significant factor in this fight. And it might not have been judicious on his part to accept that as one of the codicils to make this fight. We're going to find out on June 20th at the MGM Grand when we will see two young men in a very pivotal fight. You know, Adrien Broner, who had the loss to Maidana, wants to prove he can fight at a slightly higher weight. Shawn Porter, who lost to Kell Brook, wants to show he's still in the upper echelon of the welterweight division, even though this will be fought at a slightly lower weight. And every fight with Adrien Broner certainly brings with it more attention than you might get normally. So June 20th will be a fascinating matchup between Adrien Broner and Shawn Porter.